Hello, everybody, and welcome to SA Sociology Hub. My name is Tandika Sivanyoni, and in today's video, I thought, you know what, I can't not speak about this Netflix's series called The Polygamist. This series has everyone raving. So I was like, okay, let me see what ukuthi nikhala ngani, you know. So I went through it, and I've realized that a lot of people have been focusing on whether, Jonasi was right or wrong, whether he was a good husband or a bad husband. And I'm seeing polarity, right? People are traumatized. People are saying, women, choose yourselves. You see, men are trash. Okay, maybe not in the sense. They're like, oh, there are so many Jonasis out there. And there are men who are like, oh, I'm not as bad as Jonas, you know? So there's polarity. But as a sociologist, I couldn't not see what's happening. I had more questions. So some of the questions were like, is this actually a story about polygamy? Or is it revealing a family structure that we do not yet have a language or a name for in South Africa? So let's talk about it. So The Polygamist was written by a Zimbabwean author, Sunyati, in 2012, right? And she self-published the book. And fast forward, the book was now, moved to television. And yeah, it was moved to television, and it was performed by South African actors. The language is in isiZulu, and yeah, so it involves a man. In fact, it's this rich man. I won't go into the details. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. So please go watch The Polygamist and maybe also read the book. I also have to find the book now that I've watched the series, right? And so, with that being said, it's an amazing, amazing show. It is number 6 on global charts on Netflix. So it's doing really, really amazing because everyone is like, Yazini, Tyler Perry could never. So yeah. But now, on a sociological front, is this really polygamy? Because the title of the show is said to be The Polygamist. The language that is used is Zulu, which speaks to Vele. The Zulu people practice polygamy, but there's a different dynamic. This is happening in a township, the modern type of polygamy, modern way, I guess. And so the other thing that's happening is that with Sunyati being African, right? It speaks to maybe this is like really a reality of many households, not just in South Africa, but in Africa, right? Where we find a Jonasi. Polygamy refers to an arranged or a recognized arranged marriage involving two or more wives, where a man gets married to two or more wives, right? And in many cultural contexts, while relationships may begin imperfectly, there's eventually an intention to formally incorporate wives into a single family structure. And that's what we see. We see plays of polygamy happening, but not in an ideal. And there is a friend of mine sent me this article. I'll put it here, somewhere here. And the author is arguing that this show does not, or the series does not speak to polygamy in its Africanness, right? But that fails to recognize that it's not that this guy was lying, not to all of the women. Maybe to the main wife, the first wife, there was a bit of lies, but this became easy tempo because we're seeing Joyce opening up her marriage, not because of any family building, although that's what she says. But we're seeing a self-preservation. Oh, she even calls it self-preservation, right? And so there are many reasons. I don't know why AC decided to get married to this guy, because it seemed like she was just being coerced into doing, But as for Joyce, she actively opened up her marriage to East Temp. It was not the decision by Jonasi, right? And Umatiba claims to love this man. And when this thing started, you don't see her looking to build, so to build a family with the other wife. She wanted to be the only one. So it was a selfish reason. And then it moved to I want my kids to grow up knowing their father. And so her decision was based of love, right? And so to a certain extent, we see polygamy being played out, but also it's not in the African, it's not by book, it doesn't follow the book. And I mean, this is the case even in the case of the reality show Uthando Nesthembu. We're also seeing it on Umnakwetu, that the men will be having side chicks and then only later introduce them as the wives or the potential wives. And the other wife, the first wife or the other wives, will then have to just agree, because at the end of the day, you didn't this is isthembu umnakwenu nakufikile, but how it happens is, we see, especially in the case of South Africa or with the reality shows, we see polygamy happen not because maybe this is just what's happening, there's a polygamy calling, for lack of a better word, right? But there's also the husband, there's infidelity, and then there's polygamy. And we don't ask women why they say yes to the polygamy. Actually, I think we need to have a reality show that speaks to just women in polygamous relationships, So overall, what we see in this series feels much more complicated. We see secrecy, we see overlapping households, there are children in multiple families, there are relationships that are known but are not fully recognized, like Esi's relationship. It's just sad, right? We see women who know about one another but do not necessarily share a common household. We also see power in play. And for me, this is where this series becomes very interesting as far as sociology is concerned, because many South Africans relate to this reality, in that people came out on social media to say, I can relate to this. I am a child, a secret child, or I have other siblings. I'm not the only child. People are aware of the second families. Many people grew up discovering that their fathers had children elsewhere, and some people describe themselves as the secret children. So perhaps what the series reveals is not traditional polygamy in its sense, but a family structure that sits somewhere between monogamy and formal polygamy. And maybe this is why so many people see themselves in this story. Perhaps the question is not whether the title is correct. The question should be, or could be, whether our understanding of family is keeping up with the social reality. In as much as, yes, what we see on social media or on television should not dictate how we do life. It does shape it in a way, but it also tells us about the society that we live in. And this series exposes what is happening in our context. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Do you think The Polygamist is really about polygamy? Or do you think that it reveals something much bigger than masculinity, family, and social change in South Africa? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching SA Sociology Hub. I think I'm gonna do another review where I not just speak about masculinity and maybe the name. I'll now focus on the women and how women are not victims, not always victims in society. Have a lovely